This week in the news, Minecraft malware, the new God of War game causes meltdowns, Marathon Fumble Season 2 launch, and more on Old Man Rages at the News. Before we get the show on the road, if you like the content, hit the like and subscribe buttons. And we're starting off this week with Bloomberg getting more information on Steam's lawsuit. And we'll go over a small portion of it because it's a long article and I'm pretty sure I can't keep people's attention for that long. Also, reminder, I am not a lawyer and this is not a legal advice. Now, for a quick TLDR on this lawsuit. It started because Valve allegedly had a policy that punished developers who offered discounts at competing online stores. Gabe Newell denied the policy, even claiming that it doesn't exist multiple times. When an attorney pressed him on how Valve would react if a developer charged less money for a game on competing stores, Newell said, and I quote, "I'm confused by your question. Many of our partners and many of our customers are quite happy with the service that we provide." Oh fuck, stop laughing at this. Yeah. I mean, this thing is the most... how do I say it? This is the most baked response gaming could have given at that point. And for some reason, it cracks me up. Anyways, I'm confused by your question. Many of our partners and many of our customers are quite happy with the service that we're providing. But... can we go back to the gaming response? This is like, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm here mowing my grass type of stuff. Oh boy. Anyways, moving on. This is a transcript from 2023. Yes, it was recently released by Bloomberg. Hence why this situation. Now, Bloomberg did try to get Newell or other company leaders for an interview, but a spokesperson straight up denied the request. It's worth noting that there are two causes where Valve interfered with pricing. One is with Rainbow Six Siege, where Ubisoft was selling a $15 exclusive starter pack on their Uplay store, and it was only sold there. And at that point, a Valve employee threatened to delist all of the editions of the game because of it. The other case was with Middle of Earth Shadow of War getting deleted off Steam because the price was, quote, significantly higher than what was available at other retailers for the same version of the game. Now, Warner Bros. Was trying to get on the phone with Cassidy Garber to make amends, but both companies declined to comment. I wonder why. It's not like they were also the main reason why Steam has a refund policy, right? Anyways, when Valve was asked in a deposition if Steam has a policy requiring pricing parity for games, Cassidy Garber denied it was a policy in various different ways and even said, and I quote, "Steam's policy has always been to require material parity for things we sell on the Steam store." Now, this was said so many times that one Steam business employee turned it into a joke and jokingly said he would get it tattooed on his back like it's the Declaration of Independence. Look, between you and me, Gabe Newell's response would have been much funnier. Gabe Newell's response would have been a much funnier tattoo. But anyways, moving on from lawsuits and something that can make or break people's hopes and dreams for a decent PC, especially with the RAM situation right now, Valve confirmed it's ready to launch the Steam Machine this summer with the Frame VR headset, and it also has the same launch period as the Steam Machine. Now, it's worth noting that the Steamworks site has been updated with details about optimizing titles, requirements for verification, and practices for developing titles for those two devices. Yes, the Steam Frame is included because it can also run by itself without a need for a PC. Now, the real question is, what's gonna be the price of the Steam Machine? You know, especially after covering the price increase for the Steam Deck last week. What's gonna be we're actually not losing profit on this shit. Or is it gonna be a case of Valve using this as a lost lead to funnel people into the Steam Store ecosystem? Well, chances are we'll know sometimes this year. Unless they turn around and say, look, we can't launch it this year, sorry guys, next year it's coming. And this just in. This is the first time this year my brain got broken by a journalist. It was going so strong, and yet here we have Kotaku fucking things up with their, and I quote, "We need to talk about the violence in that Wolverine reveal." Yes, I'm not joking. That's the title. And it took me a solid 30 minutes to realize what is fluff and what is the actual article. Yes, that's how bad this shit is. Now, I normally go into what the article is mainly talking about, instead of reading their X amount of words per article. But this shit's wild. And I quote, "When I saw in the Wolverine demo, those two people just standing idly in the back of a truck, unthreatening and uncontextualized before they were brutally slaughtered, I couldn't help but have the same reflection. Were they? What have they done? What did they do to deserve such a murder?" Yes. This genius over here is like, who were they? Have you seen these two? Chief, why does it matter? It's a demo, for crying out loud. It's supposed to show what the game is about, not what those two people were doing, or why they were turned into human paste. At the very least, they admitted that violence in video games doesn't lead to copycat violence in real life. I mean, let's be honest here. It's a good thing for them to state the obvious, but if they tried saying this game's gonna result in copycat violence, excluding the fact that that's total bullshit, I very much like to know how some dumbass is gonna shove spikes in his arm that come out without, ending up in ER. Now, this is the only part of the article that has sanity and common sense really in it. The rest, well, let me put it like that. I'm not gonna grill them for the fact that there is a way to reduce score. I'm gonna grill them on this, and I quote, "My issue in this specific situation is those 7 minutes of Wolverine footage is that it just feels cheap. It doesn't look cheap. The game looks incredible, but it felt unearned. Just an easy, shocky way to show off, to, quote, get people talking, and to be performatively edgy. It didn't deserve it yet." Yes, this dude literally said that it felt unearned. And that wasn't the only time it was written in the article. This is another case of them wanting to earn it. Like, what do you want the game to do? For crying out loud, you sure don't give an example of how to make it feel like you earned it now, do ya? Oh, and keep in mind, Kotaku is one of those websites that supported skippable boss fights. It even tried defending that statement. Yeah, buddy. You wanna earn it, right? Last time someone tried to make you earn it, you all complain about it. So, which is it? Do you wanna earn it? Or have a cheap movie? Now, if you wanna have a cheap movie, you can quote-unquote play. Mixtape is that way. And in another case of malware infection, a Minecraft mod had malware hidden in it, which gave hackers webcam access for 116,000 players for $5. This discovery was made by McAfee researchers who found that the malware infected a lot of people, and it's running since January 2026, getting around 2,000 to 3,000 new victims a day. Yes, let that sink in. This was discovered by McAfee researchers, or McAfee, or however you want to pronounce it. Tomato, tomato, and whatnot. Bottom line, it's the same company that provides software that's considered ineffective by the majority of the internet. And they found this. Now, I'm not sure if I should laugh at the guy that provided the malware, or congratulate them on actually doing something. The malware itself, which they named Weed Hacks, spread through fake YouTube tutorials and SEO poison download sites built to outrank legitimate mod pages in search results. Targeted clients include Meteor, Liquid Bounce, and Worst. Once the malware is on your PC, it does 4 things. First, it establishes a hidden connection to the Ethereum blockchain to resist takedowns. Second, it disables Windows Defender. Third, it embeds itself to survive a restart. And fourth, it allows paying customers to handle the attacker's live access to the victim's screen webcam and files. Yes, if you paid $5 a month, you get access to the information on the target's PC. Now, the free version of the hack tool got passwords and cookies from 36 browsers, Discord and Steam credentials, crypto wallet data, and Minecraft session IDs that let attackers take over accounts without a password. The McAfee researchers also found a Telegram channel which had over 850 members, some of them being teenagers using the remote access tool to harass peers, record the victims through their webcams, and post the footage on the Telegram channel. Obviously, the channel was taken down, but the campaign itself hasn't. And if you've downloaded any form of Minecraft mod, you might want to run a virus scan on your PC. And if anything looks out of ordinary, for the love of God, practice online safety, change your passwords, try force logging out anything you have logged into if you have the option, and if you have any online banking, double check to make sure nobody stole anything from there. And apparently, a new God of War game was announced. And yes, it sparked yet again another wave of drama on X, because just like the last God of War game that was announced and released, Kratos is missing in action. Ugh, who knows what's happening to Kratos at this point? Is he held hostage and the price for his release is too high? Was he caught in a DOI accident and no amount of bail can release him? Oh well, on the bright side, at least Reddit liked it. And one of the people who threw his hat in the ring is the original creator of God of War, David Jaffe. Now, I timestamped it for anyone curious, but basically, this whole thing boils down to him not liking it and it being uninspired. He's referring to the game, mind you. He even speculated that it's not gonna make as much money as Sony expects, but also speculates that it's around $80 million. Now, the question on everyone's mind is, will he stick to his viewpoint? Spoiler alert, he won't. But that's next week. Mainly because he decided to turn heel past the cutoff point. Now, why am I bringing this guy up? Because he made a good point. And to quote him, God of War, the originals, they had their hooks. It was Kratos as a badass and Greek mythology. Violence. Now, say what you want about the man, but I believe that was a good point right there. And to me, as an outsider mind you, the appeal for these games is that you play as a badass Greek god. And now, these newer releases lost that appeal. It's as simple as that, really. A story set in my neck of the woods, with a guy going ham after being betrayed, which is on point with Greek culture, and just decides to go on a hobo murder spree to basically turn the Greek pantheon into works of history. Let's put it like that. About as simple as you can get, all fueled through the lens of rage. Now, the studio behind the game, though, revealed that they do have Sekhmet. And because this is the internet, the Palworld account on X also pointed out that they do have Sekhmet. Now, the tongue-in-cheek humor doesn't stop there. Domino's UK also threw their hat in the ring, pointing out on X that, and I quote, God of War game with no Kratos equals pepperoni passion with no pepperoni. And the studio had one of the lamest comebacks I've ever seen. They thanked Domino's for the feedback and pointed out that it was a pizza corporate account, and that somehow ratioed Domino's burn. Does X have like zero sense of humor here? That was a quality roast, goddammit. And because, you know, this is Sony, and this is a game that apparently was made with the idea of having women that, well, don't exactly look appealing, journalists will defend it like their life depends on it. Pirate Nation over here shared a few articles, and one of the articles... Now, you know what? I'll quote it. That's gonna make things a bit easier for everybody here. sexist losers are big mad that Kratos takes a backseat, Frey and God of War love Faye. It wasn't even a full day since the announcement, and both sides are already name-calling each other. Hell, I even went to their website and there are more tweets than actual coherent points. Like, you have to be mega unemployed to go around X find all these tweets. The only tweet they showed that actually has a point is this one, which is, well, the same as Domino's, but more verbose. They didn't even have the balls to point out that his tweet is valid. It's just pure white background. But don't worry, the worst part is yet to come. Now, get this. As I was about to close their website and move on to a different topic, I noticed that Firefox prevented the website from opening a pop-up. Like, what the fuck, mate? And then they dare call people losers when, they employ the same tactics that are found on sketchy websites all around the internet. Forced pop-ups. Anytime a website does that, they're trying to either A, sneak something on your PC, or B, are scrounging for money and are trying to force something to pop up in a desperate attempt that you don't notice it. This is basic internet 101 for crying out loud in this day and age. Or at least it was in my time. Ugh, for the love of God. Even South Park couldn't write a story better than this one. Now, sticking with Sony for a couple more minutes, it's not looking good for them and their first party sales. Now, why am I saying that? Because GameFile Steven Toledo collected the last 5 years of financial data and pointed out that it's been in decline, with only the financial years of 2020 and 2025 seeing a jump from 49 million to 58 million and 28 to 32 million units sold, respectively. Now, doesn't help the fact that PlayStation also eliminated more than 1,200 games from their store. Now, you'd think this is bad, but most, if not all, of the games are shovelware published by Webnetic. Now, Webnetic's games would still operate on Xbox, Nintendo, and Steam, so at least PlayStation has a win on that side. Because in the UK, PlayStation 5 sales fell by 50%, and it barely outsold the Xbox by 400 units, according to analysts. Now, this came from Christopher Dring, who I assume works for the game business. And oh boy, does it paint a grim picture for Sony's profits in the UK. Almost as if, I don't know, maybe they had access to another platform that they could have made a reasonable profit off of if they priced their games accordingly. But, I might be delusional here. And continuing with Sony's bastard child, so to speak, LNA Analytics has updated estimations for Marathon. Their new estimate, which is give or take 2 months after the first, it almost sold 1.5 million copies, with Steam still being dominant. So, what does that make? Like 300,000 copies sold within that 2-month lifespan? Can't really make that sound good now, can I? It's like, oh guys, look! We haven't stopped selling! How much did you sell? Well, we sold 300,000 copies on top of what we sold normally. Okay. And how much is your operating cost? Oh, but don't worry. The marathon is still going on. Especially since Season 2 launched. And it had errors and bugs. Oh boy. Chinese cooking. Anyways, jokes aside, these bugs were mostly about not getting rewards for achieving specific in-game goals, with even Eurogamer experiencing it firsthand. Only getting 2 out of the 6 earned rewards. It's almost as if they would test shit like that, but The dev team did post on X that an update is on its way to fix it, and it also gave out 3 deluxe sponsored kits to everyone who was logged in during the affected times. And because misery loves company, they also had another fumble this week, but I'll be honest, this one I think it's more Sony side of things. Specifically, during the free period, people were able to buy the deluxe edition of the game for $14, which sounds like a steal, right? You know, a deluxe version of a game for $14. Who wouldn't go for it? A low price for something you're not sure if you're gonna like or not. Well, yes, the dream was too good to be true, because the problem with this is that the deluxe edition only included bonus content and cosmetic related stuff. Meaning, once the free week is over, whoever bought the deluxe edition loses access to that content. Yes, it didn't include the game. Let that sink in. And to address something here, because as I mentioned earlier, I believe this is Sony's doing. The reason why I believe that is because a member of Resetera pointed out Sony never disabled the discount for the deluxe edition for the people with said free trial, so consumers ended up buying the deluxe edition thinking that the base game is also included in that. Oh, Sony, can you not mess something up at least for a week? Jesus Christ. And now for the rapid fire segment. 007 First Light's budget got revealed, and it's $202 million. It's even considered now Denmark's most expensive entertainment project. Now, do keep in mind, this isn't confirmed by IO Interactive. This is just an estimation from the Danish Broadcasting Corporation, which is backed by Denmark's TV2. There is also a high likelihood that they will recoup the cost as well, since it sold 1.5 million copies in the first 24 hours, which with some rough math is about half of the estimated cost. I mean, I've done some math before, you know how it is. You just take the baseline game price, subtract whatever the store made, and you get a rough estimation for the low end. You do the same thing with the high end with the deluxe version of the game if it has it. Subtract the store portion of it, and you get the high end. And you have a rough estimation of what potential revenue could be within that range from the game. Mind you, that's before including salaries and whatnot for devs and staff. So that's why it's a rough estimation. Now, on the bright side of things, the Stop Killing Games initiative is getting traction again. Video Games EU is hosting an invite-only meeting between its members and members of the EU Commission in less than 2 weeks before it makes a decision on the Stop Killing Games initiative. Now, you'd think they'll invite a representative from Stop Killing Games, but, well, that would be too much of a hassle for them apparently. So, as a response to not being invited, Stop Killing Games posted an open letter to anyone that wants to read it. And I would suggest you read it. And I can't really force you to share it, but spread the word around, will ya? Everybody who plays games will benefit from this in one way or another. Another thing that's worth mentioning, and that's related to Stop Killing Games, mind you, though indirectly, is that the California Assembly has passed the Protect Our Games Act with a vote of 43-16. Meaning that this will move to the California State Senate. And why am I saying that this is indirectly linked to Stop Killing Games? Well, the bill is quite similar to it. And if it passes, all future paid live service games would be required to give players advance notice of shutting down and a way to keep purchased games playable afterwards, like offline access, community servers, or other means. Now, the Assembly member Chris Ward from San Diego explained this in a quick video on Stop Killing Games YouTube channel. They're scoping this thing passes the California Senate as well. Look, I'm not saying this might be used as an example of why Stop Killing Games should be endorsed and pass through the EU government, but I know a few people that are gonna have a meeting in 2 weeks that are not gonna like it. So why not, right? The California State Senate has, for lack of a better word, the perfect opportunity to fast track this, assuming they have a way to fast track this, and make things very funny on the EU side of the puddle that we call an ocean. But anyways, Moving on to a GTA actor saying Rockstar satire may not hit the same in 2026 as it did in 2013. Bruh, let's hope it hits the same. Otherwise, I hate to think what people know about satire. Jake Light said this in an interview with Eldorado. Don't get me wrong, it's still fucking GTA. It's going to be massive. People will lose their shit. It's gonna be huge, obviously. But it's a different world to the one 13 years ago when the last one came out. I mean, it's a very different world than it was even a year ago. But for obvious reasons, as in an NDA, he couldn't say more. And now, moving on to some good news. Mina the Hollower managed to sell 300,000 copies in 3 days. Mind you, this is good for the studio because back in December, they said it would be in trouble if the game only sold 100,000 copies. But it would feel great if it sold over 200,000. Now, bear in mind, the studio was also aware they couldn't ask for $30. That's why they set the price at $20, because they think the lower price is a steal. I mean, from what I've seen, the game looks good. And, well, hooray for Yacht Club games! They're not dying! It would be a shame since, these are the guys that made Shovel Knight. Now, I would say this is a shame, but then again, we're looking at a trend here. Now, what am I talking about? Xbox's CEO says platforms must have exclusive content as she weighs on exclusivity shift. To quote her exactly, look, we're the number 2 publisher in the world, and in order to be a great publisher, you must have your games reach large audiences to play. At the same time, we're increasingly becoming a platform, and in order to become a platform, you must have exclusive content and services. Yuck. And so we're looking at that very closely. I think that we have to be very thoughtful about each title on how we want to think about it, and learn from some similar cases in the industry. And that's what we're doing. Yeah, pretty sure that exclusivity is good for customers, right? Oh, this game looks nice. I'll buy it. Oh wait, it's on insert console name here. I don't have that console. Do I want to buy a console for just one game? Nah, you get the idea. It's almost as if Xbox looks at Sony trying to survive and the management goes, hold my beer. Now, common sense might be foreign to Xbox, but here's something that says common sense. The sales for the Switch 2 plummeted in Japan after the increased price comes into play. The Switch 2 only sold 31,751 copies, with a huge drop compared to the week before the price increase, which was 247,840 copies sold. The Switch 1 also managed to sell 229 units, which was less than the Xbox Series X, almost as if knowing when a price increase is gonna happen and you can get something before the price increase, you would, right? It's common sense, really. Why would you wait a week to buy something at an inflated price when you can buy it earlier than that? Doesn't make sense. And now for something that somewhat makes sense, at least if you're a Persona 6 fan. Sega issued a DMCA takedown for Persona 6 images from the internet. Hey, at the very least, we have a confirmation now that Atlas is indeed working on Persona 6, since this came from DK Mario Link, who posted it on X. And the leak images, as you can see, are removed. Talk about a way of announcing a game without announcing it. And that also announces the end of this week's Old Man Rage Said the News. You know the drill, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you enjoy the content, and I'll see y'all next week.